excused. Next item on the order of business is the approval of the November 14th minutes.
Yes. Reese, did you have any changes?
I do not at this time have any changes.
Okay.
Okay, then we will approve them as presented. Next, we'll have the financial statement for the month of October 2024.
Thank you. This is a summary of revenue and expenditure activities for the City of Hayes, month ended October 31, 2024. Revenues in October totaled $16,084,378. That's an increase of $11,770,000 compared to the same period as last year. Some notable areas of increased revenue. $7.5 million of that large increase noted above is proceeds of the 3 notes and bonds issued as previously approved. Another $947,000 increase was in the timing of the sales tax receipts from the state, and we make a period adjustment for that later in this report. The bulk of the rest of the increase is in the form of multi-fund transfers that were deferred until each fund had sufficient cash to do so, and we completed those this month. Notable areas of revenue decrease. One notable decrease in revenue was in the form of FAA grant funding for ongoing projects at the airport in the amount of $772,356. One other decrease was a drop by 20% in combined business residential water usage, which translates into a 13% and 46% revenue decrease in water revenue and conservation, respectively. Major cause there was a 28-day cycle this year versus a 35-day cycle same period last year. Expenditures in October totaled $7 million. That's an increase of $4,684,000 as compared to 23. Some notable areas of increased expenditure. You'll see the total of $2.8 million hitting bond and interest and the commission copper reserve. Those are the transactions necessary to buy our own temporary notes, partially funding the new PD municipal court facility. $730,000 also increased commission copper reserve for the transfer necessary on the 13th Street project. We transferred for debt services out of CVB, increasing expenditures $341,759. And water made a partial budgeted $500,000 transfer to water reserves to shore up cash, increasing that expenditure line. A couple of notable decreases in expenditures. Golf course improvements fell $70,500 due to the cart path replacement project a year ago. And reconstruction last year, the Alva Bickle Park parking lot dropped special parks $76,116. Month to date, general fund sales tax collections were at $897,115. That's an increase of $37,243 or 4% as compared to last year. Year to date, sales tax collections were at $8,193,857, up $78,890 or 1% as compared to last year. 6-month average was at 3%, which was a year-over-year decrease of 1.55. Year-to-date, county sales tax collections were at $971,000, which is a year-over-year increase of 2.5%. Report of top 10 quarter-to-date sales tax collections by classification was up $66,200 or 2%. Those represent 74% of the total sales tax collections for the quarter. Total par value of U.S. Treasuries for October was $6 million with a weighted average yield to maturity of 4.2, up 0.4 from a year ago. The total of the portfolio certificates of deposit on October 31 was $63,018,896 with a weighted average rate to maturity of 5%. Total balance of the money market account on October 31 was $6.5 million with a current yield of 3.773. That is down 0.385 from a year ago. And total investments were up $4,449,416.
Make a motion we approve the October 2024 financial report.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Musil, second by Commissioner Cunningham. Any questions or comments on the financial statement?
Can we just have a question on that cycle in the water? Why is there such a 7 days?
So that would be a great question for the city clerk. I don't know that I've ever in my 17 years had my head totally wrapped around it, but a lot of it has to do with so we have 4 cycles, and we bill 1 cycle per week. Okay. And when you throw in some fifth week cycles in there, it shoves the okay. calendar. And we try to keep that calendar to where the bill is due on a Saturday, you pay on a Monday.
Right.
So when you're trying to factor in those several 5 weeks through the year, keeping it on a Saturday, a due date on a Saturday, it'll play with the timing of the cycles.
So with the changes we're making, will we still have that issue with the different cycles or not?
We do not plan at this point to change any cycles, because if we bunch up all of the bills into one, now we're having to make payments all at the same time, and that'll really be tough for my staff to handle.
Oh, I
all of that deluge. So a weekly cycle helps my office keep up with payments, and
Okay.
because we still do manual payments. So
No, there's sometimes we have a couple days where we're off, but I hadn't seen the 7 days, but that makes sense.
And I was excited because I thought maybe water usage had just gone down. We were conserving so much water, but no.
I do think that was a little bit of it,
We had rain.
yeah, absolutely, I factored.
but
in.
not the biggest part of it.
Okay.
And just because, we're getting close to Thanksgiving and I'm a smart aleck, I just want to know, do we ever have eagle values or bogey values, or is it always a par value?
Or-
Oh, my
But,
God.
Any additional questions or comments on the financial statement?
Wow. That was good.
If not, I'll call for a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passes 4-0.
almost didn't get it.
Any citizen comments on non-agenda items?
That was
Nothing on the consent agenda, so next we'll move to the RHID for Tallgrass Phase 4, resolution making certain housing needs findings and determinations. Jared.
Good afternoon, Jared Kuckelman, Management Analyst. So we are today talking about the first step in creating an RHID for Phase 4 of the Tallgrass Second Edition development. So Heart of America is the developer behind the Tallgrass Second Edition residential development, which has had the goal of increasing the city's workforce housing stock. First 3 phases of the development have performed well and are nearly completely built out and sold. Recently, the City Commission authorized an economic development grant for Heart of America to essentially cash them out, which reimbursed Heart of America for the eligible expenses that they had accrued in developing the first 3 phases, while also then assigning the RHID revenues to the city. Heart of America now plans to use the funding from that grant to proceed with Phase 4 of the development and are requesting a new RHID to assist in this. So this shows the property in question for Phase 4 of Tallgrass. As you can kind of see here, it's just located to the north of the existing development. And then here's an image showing the kind of 2 different RHIDs that will be in place. The existing RHID to the south can continue and will continue to exist, but as the borders for that district don't extend to the north onto the property that Heart of America already owns, a new RHID must be created for development to continue in that direction. So here's what the proposed plat for Phase 4 could end up looking like. Some changes are still possible, but at this point, the Phase 4 plat could create approximately 101 lots for development. So the developer has requested the use of a Reinvestment Housing Incentive District, or RHID, to assist with this development. RHIDs must be established by cities and counties based on a housing needs analysis that is on file. RHIDs capture 100% of the incremental gains in property taxes within the district, excluding the state's 1.5 mils and then 20 mils for the school district. This is for up to 25 years or until all eligible project costs have been reimbursed. They can be financed by bonds or pay as you go. The first Tallgrass RHID was pay as you go, which is what a lot of the other RHIDs in Hayes have been, but this one will be a bit different, and I'll get into that in a second. When the RHID expires, the full improved valuation and property taxes are restored to all the taxing jurisdictions. So this first step in the process of establishing an RHID is passing a resolution of housing needs, findings, and determinations. This resolution is based on the city's most recent housing needs analysis, which states that there is a shortage of quality housing in Hayes. The shortage is expected to persist. The shortage is substantial enough to be a deterrent to future economic growth and development. And finally, that future economic well-being depends on providing additional incentives for the construction or renovation of such quality housing. And then finally, the last consideration for this resolution is that it defines the boundaries of the RHID district as I had shown earlier on the map. So unlike the first Tallgrass RHID, the developer here is proposing that the city finance and construct the infrastructure. To assist with this, the developer will be providing to the city a deposit equal to 30% of the project's infrastructure costs. The deposit, as well as the RHID revenues, would be used by the city to cover and offset any of the costs from bonding or that could be accrued by building the infrastructure. So here's the calendar showing the process for the establishment of an RHID. As you can see, it's a multi-step process, and we're just here at the first step. So at this stage, all that's being done is defining the proposed district boundaries to submit to the Secretary of Commerce for agreement. Approval of a development plan and agreement, along with a lot of the more specific financial details, will come later on in the process. So all in all, it'll likely be several months before we're totally done with this process. So these would be the options before you today. And this will be the action requested.
I move to approve resolution 2024-034, making certain housing needs, findings, and determinations, advancing the statutory process for the Tallgrass Phase 4 RHID.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Barrick, second by Commissioner Cunningham. Questions or comments for Jared or anybody else?
Since we'll be talking about this for many months, do we ask you hard-hitting questions every time, or do you want them now, or?
I'm tough. I can handle it every time you bring it up, but that's up to you.
Yeah, I got nothing.
So hard-hitting question, you know. Most people would say approximately 100. 101 would be approximately 100. But you're very specific with your approximately 101. So I'm just wondering if that's really, you know,
That's
more.
not what I was getting
I've
at.
covered my bases. I counted on the plat 101, but I could always be wrong. And we're aware that things do often change in these sorts of development processes. So best to keep things, you know.
He wanted to put plus or minus 30, but we kept him to approximately.
Okay.
I also, you know, it's we've done enough of these now that I almost feel like I'm starting to become an expert on reinvestment housing incentive districts. And I've been here between when it was rural housing incentive districts to reinvestment. I'm just wondering if, you know, when the state was changing the name, whether they were thinking of Hayes in mind because we're using it so often. We might have been, you know, an impetus for that or something.
Maybe. So.
Could be.
Jared, you said almost all of the lots in phase 1 through 3 are built out. Do you know how many are still available?
The 12 that are left, that was phase 3, I think it was 12 along Wheatland Avenue, are the ones that are under construction now.
Okay.
And so those are the ones that are, and I think some of the ones that are in phase 2 might still be kind of in process. But as far as I know, pretty much everything's been bought. They're just not all necessarily complete yet, but everything's under construction. That's in those
Thank
first
you.
3 phases.
Doug, I have a question for you. With this next phase, are you planning on doing kind of the same style housing? Is it going to change at all? Is it going to look similar to what the current Tallgrass is?
Doug Williams, Executive Director of Grow Hayes. To answer Elena's question, of the first 54, there's one left unoccupied, and that'll be closing in the next couple of weeks, I'm told. So those will all be occupied. The 12 are under construction. To your question, yes, the concept would be to continue the same type of housing, to continue to sell lots at a very reasonable level in exchange for the builders building homes of a certain price cap. Now with 101, or approximately 101, that's a lot of lots. And so, and based on the arrangement we have for the repayment of bonds and that kind of thing, we're going to be very anxious to get things built. And so I just want to qualify that if, depending on the pace of construction of the type of houses that have been being built, if that slows for whatever reason, there may be an opportunity to look at different price points of homes in that area. So there's also some areas that might lend themselves well to multifamily in that 101 lot area, which we are asking for a RM zoning, which would allow some multifamily in there. So there could be some mixed use in that development, but primarily we hope to continue the same kind of concept that's been so successful so far.
And it would stay the same kind of single family, not anything specific as like higher density single family homes.
We have a couple of areas we would like to look at for higher density single family homes. The problem we ran into is that requires a planned development, and we weren't ready to do a planned development for a part of it yet. And so we may take an area within there and do a planned development, which would allow for even higher density than what we're talking about, but that would be a change that would result in more than 101 lots and could get us up to 110 or something like that. So,
Gotcha. Okay, no, that answers my question. Thank you.
okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? If not, I will call for a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 4-0. Thanks, guys.
Hey, Mayor, before you, or Mayor, Vice Mayor, whoever you are, sorry. I want to ask Toby a question, kind of what we were just talking about. I was reading just a little bit, in Topeka, they're looking at changing the way we stack incentives in districts. I think we have some districts like that. Do you know how that will affect us, or have you heard much about it?
I don't know if I've read anything about Colin or Jared. Are you
just-
aware?
It was just something last week I seen they were looking at changing the way stacking of incentives in districts, and I didn't know why they were trying to do that. Or what.
Do you know the source you saw it from?
I'll find it.
If you find it, send it to me. I'll look at it. I don't remember anything
Okay.
specifically.
It was last week. I don't even know
Topeka.
where I was reading it, but I'll find it. So.
Okay, yeah,
Thank you.
please do.
Sorry.
No, you're good. Thank you. Next up, we have the progress report. Colin.
Good afternoon, Colin Belzer, Deputy City Manager. So city employees from many departments successfully completed another annual fall cleanup. The job was done in record time this year, and the entire crew was treated to an appreciation lunch following the cleanup. They were able to repair and stabilize a stormwater outlet in the 2600 block of Donald. And the service division repaired deteriorating curb and gutter in the 1700 block of Pine Street. You've probably noticed the wreaths have been hung up by Service Division in downtown. And then the long-awaited new paper/cardboard baler at the recycling facility was installed on November 5th. This one works fantastic, and installation went well, and it should last for many years.
Didn't that process start like pre-COVID?
It's our second attempt.
Looks good.
Hayes Fire Department received the 2024 Kansas State Association of Fire Chiefs President's Award for their December 2022 grain elevator rescue. In addition to Hayes Fire Department staff members present, also Jerry Moran was present for the award ceremony, and then there are also members from the Sherman County Rural Fire Department and Ellis County Fire Department. Lieutenant Tim Dietrich and firefighter Aiden Stevenson completed an 80-hour structural collapse technician course at Crisis City in Salina. This course is part of the Kansas Task Force 7 training program, which that task force is comprised of members of the Hayes Fire Department and Sherman County Rural Fire Department, which is why they were included in the last picture. This is part of the Kansas Technical Rescue Program, which is administered by the Kansas Fire Marshal's Office.
A lot of good people come from Sherman County.
Sure.
Noted.
I'll let you know as soon as I think of one.
Thanks.
The old dilapidated Sunrise Park sign was replaced with a new sign thanks to the Women Who Lead, who recently adopted the park.
That looks nice.
It looks really nice.
Staff installed several hundred feet of pipe to 3 holes on the back 9, adding a total of 7 heads for better coverage around greens, and those would be holes 14, 16, and 17. Park staff put up Christmas lights and garland in downtown Hayes. And they also performed playground inspections and fixed any issues that were discovered. Staff has been blowing out irrigation systems and restrooms in preparation for colder winter months. All park restrooms have been closed for this season except for the heated one in UP Park. An IT slide, so it's rare, but it's here. So IT staff oversaw the installation of antennas for our AMI project. Antennas and cabling were installed at the water treatment plant and the Sternberg water tower in preparation of the base station collector units, which are expected to be delivered in mid-December. The design of the system has the antennas only at an elevated level, while the radio equipment will be mounted at the lower level, stayed in troubleshooting and repair when needed. Community Service Officer Nikki Hausler read to children at the Hayes Public Library on October 30th. And Officer Caleb Cohen and Records Clerk Megan Stenstrom handed out candy during trick-or-treat on the bricks on Halloween. And then School Resource Officer Austin Spencer spoke at Hayes Middle School on November 4th during the school's safety week. which I learned was led by the students, which I think is pretty cool. They lead the safety week. So, information kiosks were installed at each entrance to the property of R9 prior to the upland bird hunting season. Each kiosk provides a map of the property, information related to the ongoing bobwhite quail research, walk-in hunting area regulations, and a list of Kinsley businesses. There are 2 QR codes on the lower right portion of the map that provide a link to the R9 and Hayes CVB web pages. And then also included is a flyer from Edwards County Economic Development that includes area restaurants and shopping opportunities. These kiosks were constructed by the carpentry class at Fort Hayes Tech North Central.
It's nice that we're trying to help Kinsley.
Last month, I did mention that we were contacted, or we were put in contact by a graduate student at the University of Georgia for a research project on the bobwhite quail. So 32 quail have been trapped in just 3 days, and then they're fitted with a radio collar. So that's what that student is doing to track their migration. The R9 property is being well utilized and greatly appreciated by the public for the access and hunting opportunities it provides. Zach and Levi on the left traveled from Arkansas to archery hunt for deer. And then on a weekday morning, there were upland bird hunters on the property from Arkansas, Oklahoma, Texas, and Sedgwick County. Several city staff made it to the Governor's Water Conference in Manhattan, November 13th and 14th, as well as Holly Dickman, our water conservation specialist, along with peers from across state, were asked to speak and answer questions from the audience about pertaining to water and the issues facing the state. The CVB created a new shop for Hayes for the holidays commercial that is airing on local networks, social media, digital ads, and Smoky Hill Public Television.
It's the most wonderful time of the year, and you're invited to celebrate it in Hayes. You'll find joy in stores that sell tasty treats and gifts galore. Then, when your holiday shopping list is done, you can have extra time for something extra special. Experience holiday magic and shop Hayes for the holidays.
I like it.
The widening and reconstruction of 13th Street has begun. The first item in the process is the extension of the drainage box between Harvest Road and Tallgrass Drive. This will result in 13th Street being closed to traffic for approximately 1 month at this location. And the Kansas Highway Patrol hangar continues to make progress. The slab has been completed and the steel building is on site to be erected in the future. Any questions?
I have one question for you.
Awesome.
Do we have any knowledge of the economic impact on Kinsley with the walk-in hunting?
I don't know. We can try and see if we can find a way. I don't know.
How you would track
If we can somehow get an estimated census of how many people were there, I think Melissa may have a way of figuring out kind of what a hunter will bring to the area.
Can you do the system?
Geofence that area.
Yeah.
That could be
But
cool.
yeah, if we know how many people are going, we could derive an economic impact.
Okay, yeah, I was just curious.
Yeah, we'll see what her software can do.
Okay,
I really like how we're doing that, promoting that down there. I think that's
yeah, the
That's good.
kiosks look really nice.
they do.
Very cool.
It's good for the region also.
Lots of good progress. Thanks, Colin. Next up, Hayes Happenings.
Hello, Commissioners. Melissa Dixon from the Convention and Visitors Bureau. It is already time to start talking about Christmas. Christmas at Creekside Holiday Light Tours. Supposed to be bigger and better with 50,000 more bulbs this year. This will run Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays through the end of the year from 6 to 10 p.m. And that's at Creekside Resort RV Park.
They have really cool tortoises out there also.
Got everything. Fort Hays State Wrestling will host the Bob Smith Open, with the women competing December 1st and the men competing December 8th out at Gross Memorial Coliseum. And then more sports. The Gerald Mitchell Hayes City Shootout will be in town December 5th through 7th at Hayes High and Hayes Middle School. The Fort Hays State tree lighting will be December 5th, 5 to 8. right in front of Sheridan Hall with lots of different activities. And the Hayes Symphony will present their free Holiday Pops concert December 6th, 7:30 at Beach Schmidt Performing Arts Center. The historic Fort Hayes site will once again host their Christmas Past open house December 6th and 7th from 7 to 9 p.m. And the Hayes Arts Council will host their Winter Art Walk December 7th. And this one is an all-day affair, so it'll be Saturday 10 to 4, downtown Hayes. The 38th Annual Cathedral Concert will be December 8th at 3:30, Basilica of St. Fidelis in Victoria. Get there early. And the Frost Fest Illuminated Parade will be Sunday, December 8th, 6 p.m., Main Street in downtown Hayes. The theme is Gnome for the Holidays. So if you're float, if you want it judged, you've got to abide by the theme. The Fort Hays State Encore Series is presenting a special off-tour show, which means if you bought season tickets, this one's not included. This is a special bonus show with Home Free, an a cappella Christmas tour. And then on the regular season ticket, the Grand Old Christmas Show will be December 11th at Beach Schmidt Performing Arts Center. Fort Hays State's Fall Commencement, December 13th at Gross Memorial. And Hayes Community Theater will present A Haunted Sort of Christmas, December 13th and 14th at their location on 8th Street. Big Creek Crossing will host their annual holiday craft fair, December 14th, 10 to 5. And the Fox Theater has 2 shows. December 14th is a comic, Joe Machi, I think. And December 21st, Red Dirt Christmas with Stoney LaRue. Now, this is a new event for our calendar, the 888 Equine Center. If you haven't been out there, it's very impressive. They're going to host something called Christmas on the Plains with treats, activities, carriage rides, horses, December 20th, 4 to 8, and that's their location out on Toulon Avenue. And there's way more than that. You can find more events at visithays.com. Thank
Questions
you.
or comments? Nope.
I just wish everybody, are you in comments, what you just said?
Yeah, I'm sorry, yeah.
Is that what you
Yeah,
said?
Commissioner
I'm
Musso, go
sorry.
ahead. No, I asked if you had questions or comments about that.
Sorry, I do not.
Thanks, Melissa. Commissioner Musso.
Sorry.
Commissioner Inquiries.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just want to wish everybody happy Thanksgiving, and for people who are traveling, Kim, I know you got a few miles, so be safe and enjoy the family.
Commissioner Barrett.
Yeah, well, it's cool to not just see progress, but all the things that are going on in Hayes. I just want to say tonight we've got Fort Hays women's basketball coming up. It was very cool today at noon. The men played, and they had all of the elementary school kids from Hayes at the game. It was very loud. It was very cool.
It was.
And an opportunity for a lot of these kids. Maybe the first or only times they get a chance to go see a college basketball game. So it's a real pleasure and very cool to have a packed stadium full of kids.
It's fun.
Do want to say happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Be safe over the holidays. And, while it's cool, we're seeing all the happenings and the things of growing Hayes, it's also fun to see Doug at the gym in the morning trying to shrink himself. Hayes venture, which is
Not going very well.
Is he shrinking or bulking?
I know, it's like maybe he's growing.
That's me.
But yeah, other than that, and looking up, I just wanted to mention it is very cool this year having women's wrestling going on, which I think
They're doing good.
The men's wrestling's been good for a while. Know the coaches; they're very excited about that, and it's going to be kind of a cool addition to what's going on in the community in Fort Hays.
Thank you. Commissioner Cunningham.
Yeah. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Safe travels. And I'm sorry, I was like thinking through some of Commissioner Barrick's comments. I wanted
that
to
all the
say,
time.
right? I wanted to say that I I think it's amazing, all the retail and the different businesses we have in town, especially small businesses. So please, as you're starting your holiday shoppings, do remember to support local and shop downtown if you can. That's all I got.
So, yeah.
Pass it on.
Oh, okay, thanks.
Yes.
So I wanted to congratulate Hayes High on their win last week, or I guess it was last
Yeah,
week
it was
already.
last
Jeez. And moving on to state for the first time in the school's history. Is that right?
Yeah, it's awesome.
That is really cool. So good luck to them on the rest of their season, and I hope they can bring home that title back to Hayes. That'd be wonderful.
awesome.
So congratulations to them. Yeah, just to echo what you guys said, with all the holidays, shopping and traveling coming in, be safe, stay local. We've got a lot of good things. If you can't find it here in Hayes, you're probably not looking right. We've got a lot of things to do, to buy, to hang out with, be safe, travel well, and eat a lot of food. So happy Thanksgiving to all, and to all a good night.
I knew that was